from my dad. My dad's the main person that got me into the car scene and Volkswagen and stuff like that. He's been into Volkswagens my whole life, and he was into them. He got into them in the 70s. He was in the army and stationed in Germany in Butzbach. I guess on his downtime, he met this old German guy. He had a junkyard, and we let the GIs race him over in Germany on dirt track or whatever. So Dad got into him there, and he told me he ran 3 different classes for 3 different engine sizes. So he would run one class, finish, pull the engine out, put the engine in, run the next class. And I think he said he was one of the only guys that did it. And the German guy that sponsored him said, you can do whatever you want, but I get all your trophies. So he has all of my dad's trophies are still in Germany, I guess, if you want any. I don't know the full extent of that, but yeah. And then when he came over back in the late 70s, he bought a 74 Sunbug, which he still had up until I think maybe 8 years ago. That's my start into cars, or at least Volkswagens anyway. This is the only non-Volkswagen I've ever owned, and I've had a long list of Volkswagens. Yeah, pretty much from then on. From birth, I've been into cars. My name's TJ Anderson. It's my 62 Chrysler Newport. I've had it for about 6 or 7 years now. I've gone through a lot of changes with it. The first thing is how I got it was early 2011, I think. I was looking for a car because my buddies in the club were trying to get me to get out of the Volkswagens to get into a nice American car. So I was looking on Craigslist and stuff like that, and 2 of these popped up. It was this one and a 4-door. I didn't have the cash for them at the moment, so I was going to wait till tax season hit when I got my refund. But before that date came, they disappeared off Craigslist, so I was kind of bummed out, but oh well, it wasn't meant to be. So I put it out of my mind. And then around November, they had to get together at other members' house, Glenn. When I finally got there, they took my glasses and took me to the back, and it was dark, so I was scared. They flipped on floodlights, and then both the 2 and 4-door were both sitting there, and I was blown away. They all teamed up and pulled together and got them both for me, and it was all downhill from that point on. The first thing I did was got the 4-door, tore apart everything that I could use from the 4-door to put on this one, pulled the engine out of it. Actually, the whole front clip is off the 4-door because it was beat out a little bit when I got it. I actually got the engine running that was in the car when I first got it, which was pretty cool. One of the other things I did when I got it, because it's torsion, so I static dropped it. We did the 3-inch blocks in the back, and then just cranked the torsions down in the front and let it sit. And then the first time I drove it, we tried to go to Good Guys. My parents were out here. It's kind of maiden voyage thing. I dropped all oil pressure right around Indian Bend, and it shut down on me. It still ran, but not very well, so we had to tow it back. I had luckily pulled the engine out of the 4-door, and at that point blew it apart and sent it out. So that's the engine that's in it now. It's a 361, 5.9 liter big block Chrysler Newport engine. The stock, actually the same transmission that came in. I never had it out. It's been decent. Leaks like crazy, but it still works. It's got the push button gear selector. After that is when we blew the front end off, pulled the engine out, and then my buddy Glenn and I we're messing with metal flaking and some of the root beer colors that I wanted to go with it. So the engine bay's in root beer, and the metal flake kind of didn't come out as we wanted, but it was a good practice for when it comes out again. But at that point, I put the pockets in the frame, cut the frame out, and put the airbag pockets for it. We started putting airbags in it, so the front's got airbags. And I drove it like that for a while, static in the back with the 3-inch blocks. Just drove it to shows every now and then, and I was just getting tired of everybody saying it looks all gas monkey. And I don't really like that show. So I'm tired of that, so I want it to go full clean. when she's done. It'll be root beer and cream, some panels maybe. While I had it down for a little bit, I sent it over to my buddy Tommy. He works over at Switch, and they did the back. So now the back's bagged too, so that way I can lay it out. And when it's all the way down, I made sure that way in case I do blow a bag while driving it, it's still mobile, so it won't lay frame. I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to make it immobile if I blow something, because things happen, you know. Now I gathered a bunch of parts for it. I'm adding a bunch of the trim from a New Yorker, because this is the base model, the Newport. Not really as fancy as the New Yorker and the 300 of the same body, but so I added the trim around the wheel arches, and down it goes in from the wheel arches to the rockers, and then I picked up some other trim off of another New Yorker that follows into the tail lights, and then normally it comes up along the whole side of the car to the front, but I'm going to chop it at the back, and it's going to run into 2 antennas I have that I'm going to kind of, because you can cut it and mold it into the end, the way the antenna forms out, and it'll look kind of cool, and it'll help tie in the tail lights so they don't just look like 2 stuck-on red lights that are into on the back of the car. I've had a little bit of body work done to it in the back. A buddy of mine, Troy, he pulled the rear end because at one point before I got it, somebody had hit it, so it was kind of tapped in the back, and he did a really good job at doing that. But now I'm working on tearing it down because it's a big car, a lot bigger than a Beetle. I've done a couple Beetles, but this is definitely a project. It's going to be a long road, but I'm hoping, giving myself 2 years, hopefully, by the Low Life lineup 2020. I would love to have it to that. So that's the end goal. Just time and money is all it is.
Go hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe, comment, and share with your friends. You can also check out our website at GarageJunkieApparel.com. We have all our shirts available for purchase. We'll see you next week.